Hello and welcome. My name is Martin and today we are talking about the 5K. First, I'm going to start off with talking just a little bit about my experiences of the distance and my adventures of trying to improve on my times. And then I'm going to jump into a 10-point tip sheet that have all been generated from my own experience. I've not just copied these from other YouTubes, I've not just copied these off of Google. These are ones I've sat down and thought about, wrote down from my experience. Now let me start off with the definition of a 5K. The 5K is a 5,000 meters straight up running timed event, and it's been made most popular recently by the introduction of parkruns around the world. Parkrun by very definition is a 5K timed event. It has been made successful by a lot of factors, but one of those factors is the fantastic record keeping that comes along with it. You have, every single time you finish a race, you have a time that's attributed to your barcode. Your barcode is linked to an account and it keeps a record. No matter which parkrun in the world, it will give you a timed breakdown of that run and it will keep that record forever. And it's a brilliant set of statistics, okay? If we had a quick look over mine right now, I'm going to turn around just very briefly. You will see that way back when I started parkrun in 2015, I was running 24 plus minutes, okay? 24 plus minutes. I was a fit guy back then. I was gymming all the time. I was genuinely quite fit. I was doing OCR races, obstacle course races. I was a very fit guy. But over the 5K, that was my time back then. And that will be a time that many people can relate to because it is quite middle of the pack. Okay, moving forward in time through 2015 and 2016, my times did not get any better. I was going back to the same parkrun over and over and over again, but not getting any better. So I wasn't really committing to trying to get that PB. And then we went on holiday to the seafront, the same place over a few years straight. And because it was a seafront one, it was flat, it was just an out and back, and I noticed that I got, the very fastest time I ever had, which was 2018. I got 20 minutes and 27 seconds, so frustratingly close to the 20-minute barrier, something that I had very slowly been trying to get to just through general fitness, but I hadn't really got the oomph to get there. So what changed? In 2018, I joined a running club, a regular training on weeknights. Mine were on Monday and Wednesday. They're the ones I could do. That meant that I would have some structure and regularity and consistency to my training. And without really making any huge efforts on those nights, just consistency and regularity started to bring my times down further. And the following year, when I went back to the seaside parkrun, I went and ran a 19:35. So results are already speaking for themselves. Now, fast forward a little bit, we're into the pandemic now, there wasn't anything else to do. I couldn't go to the gym, I couldn't train. So most days, almost every day in fact, I would do a run of some sort. And as a result of that, my body changed shape. I lost a bit of weight, I lost a bit of muscle, but ultimately I was lighter. The lighter I got, the faster I became. Weight is speed, okay? You are carrying less around, you become more efficient. You can get to the end just that much easier. So when everything opened back up, running club started back up, I was already a better runner than I was previous because of that efficiency. Shortly after that, we had a new parkrun open up right near me, which I got quite involved with. Ran the very first event and again beat that time that I'd got at the seafront. Amazing. Only not like 3 or 4 seconds off of it, but it triggered something in my mind that I had more to achieve. And it's like a little fire, a little burning fire underneath me to say, yes, you can get faster. You can still get faster. So I doubled down. I started thinking about ways that I could improve. You know, some weeks I'd break PBs week after week after week, then none, then not one, then get another one. And in the end, after 25 of these local park runs, I'd PB'd 12 times, almost 50%. And my very final time on my 42nd birthday was 17:52. Now I'd gone from in those few years of just coasting through parkrun in 24 minutes down to 17:52. That's almost an entire mile saved in that time. So it got me thinking. It got me sort of trying to think backwards of all the things that I'd learned, all the things that I'd tried, ways to possibly improve. Now, these things obviously work for me, and I can't say exactly which, it's hard to quantify which has genuinely taken seconds off your time, but these are the things I tried and are my tips for you to try to see if they can make your running any better. So without any further ado, we're going to jump into Mart's top 10 how to get better at 5k. Tip 1. Join a running club or investigate an online structure that you can follow religiously. Consistency is key. Long run, hill work, speed work. If you can manage those 3 runs in a week and do that for 6 weeks, and then start doing park runs, you will see time coming down. You will. Long run, hill work, speed work. Okay? Tip 2. Weight is speed. I mentioned it before, but it's very, very, very relevant. If you can lose just a little bit of weight, which often comes with running, you will soon start to feel that running becomes easier. I lost 5 or 6 kilos, and that makes me more an efficient runner. It made me feel faster. It made it feel easier to achieve times that I previously couldn't. I'm not saying go out and starve yourself. Just by running and eating a healthy diet, you will inevitably lose the weight that is holding you back. Remember, weight is speed. A car carrying a caravan cannot go as fast as a car without. Tip 3. On a Friday night, would enjoy an end of week drink. Okay? And I suspect there are plenty of people out there that do the same. Whether it be a beer, a wine, a gin, whatever. You have 2 or 3 drinks and you're already affecting your time the next day. You don't realise it, but it is affecting your body and your ability to perform at the top end. Now, I sort of worked it out. I did a few calculations based upon my times, and they are rough calculations. It's not very scientific, but I worked it out to be about 10 seconds a mile for every, if I was having a night on the drink. And I mean, not talking like getting blasé, I mean talking anywhere between 1 and 4 drinks. It would literally it could take 30, it could take 90 seconds off. It would impede you that much. And it feels terrible. When you've had a drink the night before, trying to max effort the next day, it makes you feel terrible. Tip 4. Eat nothing before you go running, or eat very light. Certainly if you're doing a park run, obviously if you're running later in the day, eat appropriately. Eat something in the morning, several hours before your run, that's fine. But if you're running at 9 AM, you are not going to have sufficient time to eat something, have it digested and turned into glycogen ready for your run. Not unless you get up at 4 in the morning. What most people don't realise, that when you go to bed, having had your dinner, just sat around the house and then slept for 6 hours, 7 hours, whatever, your body has spent that time completely and totally digesting that food, converting it, distributing it throughout your body, and it's stored waiting to be used. When you jump out of bed the next day, it's all there ready to go. What you don't want to do is stuff a load of bagels down you, thinking that that's going to fuel you around your pot. And no, what's that's going to do? It's going to go into your stomach, it's going to sit there for a little bit, your body's going to say, right, I need to digest this, and it's going to pull all the blood that it needs to digest this food. Now, not only that, it's going to sit in your belly, it's going to feel heavy, it's going to make you feel sluggish and slow, while the whole time your body's taking a bunch of blood that it could be using elsewhere to digest it. And the kicker is, that energy is not going to be usable for several hours. So it's a complete waste of time. Some people are like, oh, I'm going to faint, oh, whatever. Have a sugary drink or something. But don't think that food is helping you any. It's really not. And 5K, it doesn't take that much out of you. Your muscles are going to be full up to the top, assuming that you ate the night before, are going to be full up to the top with glycogen already. You're good to go. Tip 5. Don't run the day before. I know some people might disagree, but I'm of the firm belief that if you're going to put a max effort in on a Saturday, you have no place really to be running on a Friday. If you deplete your legs in any sense of the word, say even if they recover a little bit, you're still going into the Saturday run not at 100%. You have to allow them recovery from the previous time that they've ran before you ask 100% of them. You will feel fresher. A day, even 2 days, is not going to impede you. If you need to run that frequently, then don't expect to get personal bests, because you will be running on compromised legs. It's only going to be marginal, but you can either have legs that are at 90%, you can have legs that are 100%. It's a no-brainer. You want fresh, unimpeded, non-injured, non-achy, full of glycogen, ready to go legs. All right? Tip 6. Marginal gains is the tip for this one. Sooner or later, you will get to the point where you can't get any faster. Unfortunately, it happens to everyone. Everyone plateaus at some point, at which point, take a look at how you are running. Take a look at what you are wearing, if there's anything you can change to make yourself faster. Even fractions of a second add up to seconds, add up to personal bests. So think about it. When I started running, I would wear a big t-shirt, big set of shorts, some clumpy trainers, big hat, whatever, I don't know. Ultimately, it wasn't very efficient running kit. Nowadays, I wear my running vest, very lightweight running vest, 5-inch lightweight running shorts, and I wear a pair of Nike Alpha or Vaporflies. Why? These particular shoes are known as the super shoes, and we are in the super shoe generation. It's having a set of these makes you feel faster, and to a point they actually take off time. The claim is they give you 2%. It's very hard to quantify, but having them is probably more of a mental thing than it is a physical thing. They're not the comfiest shoes to wear. You can't really drive in them well. But ultimately, when you're wearing them, you do seem to get better times. It goes without saying that there is something to be said for wearing them. The last thing that I've taken to doing is taking these little strips of caffeine-infused paper. It's a product called Revies, right? When I don't eat in the morning and just have a drink, it's nice to have something that gives you just that little bit of boost come the start of the race. All it is, like I say, it's just a square of sugar paper that's infused with caffeine, and you just stick it on your tongue. It's minty and it dissolves, and it's like having 2 cups of coffee, and just a little bit extra in you gets you off the line like a firework. Obviously, again, it's another one of those things hard to quantify, but I've got many of my personal bests while I've had one. So, read into that what you will. Tip 7. This one, I haven't actually done that much myself, but the actual tip is to have someone pace you, okay? I've spent quite a lot of my park runs and 5Ks running completely by myself, in my own space. I don't know why, but often between sort of position 5 and position 10 in a park run, it gets spaced out, and before you know it, you're kind of in your own space. You're not really you're not really chasing anyone, no one's really chasing you, and I end up just sort of, it's very hard to find that extra pace on your own. So when I knew I was going to have a crack at my PB to try and break the 18-minute barrier, I asked someone who I knew had already done it and was capable of doing it again if you could pace me. So that's exactly what we did. Me and this fella stood at the start, right on the start line at Park Run, and he launched off the line and I held with him. First mile, held with him. Mile and a half, he starts to pull away. Oh no. And two other guys come by me. I slipped into like 5th place from 3rd, and my pacer was starting to disappear. I don't know, had I bitten off more than I could chew. In the last 2 bends, I dug deep and I got right behind a guy and then took him in the last corner, and I made all but 1 second back onto my original pacer, and I got over the line in 17:52. That was on my, like I said, my 42nd birthday, and it was one of the best things that you can get for your birthday is a long-standing, really difficult 5k PB. Really good session. Tip 8. This is probably more of one of the standard ones, but warm up. It's a bit of a no-brainer, right? Most people that run will warm up. Certainly if you come from a running club background, you'll be taught to warm up one way or another, whether it be dynamic or static or whatever's the flavour of the month. But while certainly at a park run, what you generally find is people all turn up, huddle like freezing cold penguins, waiting to start. Obviously, when you start, there's so many muscles that are engaged almost instantly. Certainly if you're going for a personal best, all of these muscles go from static, resting, slack muscles, and suddenly they're expected to go. Same with your heart, same with your lungs. All of this really benefits from just say a 1 mile, 70% effort, plod around like 5 minutes before, and it will just make that transition from static to running as hard as you can much easier and much less painful. Tip 9, this one is more of a technical thing, more of a strategic thing. If it's a little bit windy, chances are you're not going to be on for a personal best. It doesn't take a lot to bring the whole plan down. But if it's just a little bit windy, you'll generally find that if you tuck in behind someone that's either at your pace or just ahead of your pace, the fact that they are taking the brunt of the wind and you're in their slipstream will enable you to maintain pace with them. This has happened a few times. I will sit on someone's ankles for a little bit, and in 2 turns from the end, you can drop the hammer because you've got the energy in the tank. And that can be the difference between 2 or 3 places on the field or 10 seconds in the race. Tip 10, probably the most important. If you don't get a personal best, it's not the end of the world. Obviously, you can be a little bit disappointed, you can have a cry about it, but it's not the end of the world. Park runs are every single Saturday all over the world. I'm not just talking about park runs, I'm talking about 5Ks in general. You could just run around and get a 5K personal best anytime, anywhere. It just makes it a little bit more official when it is timed and stamped on a website. You get a text, you get a little cheer from your friends. It feels great to get a PB, and it doesn't feel great when you aim for one and miss. But it's important not to be discouraged, to come back the following week and have another go. And even if you don't get it again, that's fine. Sometimes it takes that little step back and then have another run at it. And it doesn't matter how many times it takes. Just remember that all of those other things that you did, all of those tips from 1 to 9, all of those things can help you get to the next level. So have a little think what's missing from your running. Is there anything I've said that you can add to your game that can make you faster? These are all things that I've done for myself that have made me faster. from 24 minutes down to 17:52. And next year, I'm going to have another go at it and see if I can beat that again. I'm very much looking forward to it, actually. Anyway, I've gassed on plenty about this. I do hope some of you go out and put some of this to the test. Please like and subscribe below. I'm hoping to do more in this series, 10Ks, half marathons, all of that stuff. And I will see you soon. Thank you very much for watching. Like and subscribe. Mart out.
Good morning.